Oh, it's my favorite time of day with one of my favorite people in the world getting their microphone stitched together. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome coworkers, colleagues, welcome to Friends from Work. I'm Al Jackson. Tori's got her microphone, so who's going to stop her now? I submit that no one will.
No
How are
one
you,
can.
girl?
No one will. I'm okay. How are you doing?
I'm chilling. I had one of those crazy weekends. It hit me as we were walking through the airport this morning, Sarah and I, that I've been out of town every weekend this month.
Oh.
Yeah, and it just like it was we were in Arizona this weekend for spring training. Saw my nephew Josh and his lovely wife. Saw my girl Michelle Buteau. Do you know? I was
Yeah.
asking Michael Dean before we hopped on. Do you know that her? She's on that show Survival of the Thickest.
Yeah, and she was the voice of Love Island, I think. Was it Love
Yeah,
Island?
or the circle or something.
Yeah, the triangle. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you just had to pick a shape other than the one I picked. Not that I know, but yeah, she's my oldest friend. Actually, you'll be proud of me. I got pictures. Hold on, let me see if I can find it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I made that on the plane this morning.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is me, and I put some pictures of us when we were young too. I never thought I'd say that, but yeah, that's her in the top, and I don't know if you can see. That's me, her, and my girl Makala, and on the bottom, let me get us out of the way. That's me drunkenly taking her somewhere in New York on my back, and that's us drunk at karaoke. And I feel like the picture bottom right like symbolizes our friendship, and I'm just so proud of her. Found out her husband is sick, so colleagues, we're gonna put all
Oh.
positive vibes in the air. Tori, it's something like going on in the world. I feel like everything is like off kilter a little bit.
Well, Mercury is in retrograde right now. Not that that explains anyone being sick, but more and more young people are also coming down with different types of illnesses a lot earlier than before. And they're trying to figure out why, including like, not saying he has this, but like colorectal cancer and stuff. It's going down. It's increased by like 20% for people under 45. So they're looking at
Yeah,
the
I think that's kind of
processed
what's going on.
yeah, there's like processed foods they're looking at, but it's not great. And I'm going in for a colonoscopy on the 20th and
Do
an
you want?
endoscopy.
Oh, do you want to know the good thing? Okay, the bad news is you got to drink the
Yeah,
lemon stuff.
yeah.
Good news, you're going to be cleaned out. You're
All
going to
right.
be like a brand new apartment after the landlord has cleaned up and washed down the floors and the baseboards. Your insides are going to be like a brand new Mercury Sable rolling off the assembly line.
A Mercury
Do
Sable.
not go too far from the restroom. Because at first I was like, oh no, I don't think this is working. Maybe I'm backed up. And then that was the last thought I had for about 2 days.
No, but I do want to say W is so right. The prep is not nearly as bad, is what I've heard. I've heard it's not as bad. But
Yeah, I did the lemon prep. What did y'all do, colleagues?
I heard that the drink is not as much you have to take. Some people can take a pill, but I've never had one. And after James Vanderbeek, I was like, you know what? My stomach's been feeling uncomfortable. And we all thought it was the anxiety, you know, with that. Oh, Julia, your son is being diagnosed with testicular cancer.
Yeah.
Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. So yeah, I'm gonna
Julia, what's his name so we can put some good
yeah,
vibes
yeah.
out there?
I know a lot of friends who had that. I'm so sorry, but yeah, I'm gonna have them look at both parts, both
Yeah.
ends. Yeah.
Yeah, they call that the Mason-Dixon line. Your doctor walks in dressed like he's doing a Civil War reenactment. You ever heard of North and South? It's going to be a lot different. Yeah, that's once we hear the cameras touch, we know we've gone far enough.
It's like the Emancipation Proclamation is on his wall. Here we go. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh God.
Yeah, I will say this as well for the colonoscopy, and I'm glad you're getting that done, Shorty. I got that done 2 years ago, maybe. Is you'll feel it'll be the best sleep that you'll ever get. And thank you, Julia, for sharing his name. Julia's son's name is Andrew. So Andrew, we're sending big colleague love out to you, my dude. You're going to be fine. You're not allowed to go anywhere. You're gonna hang out with your mama, Julia, super dope chick, and the colleagues. So that's just what it's gonna be. Sometimes you have to just put stuff in the universe and just be like, yo, stuff is slightly shitty right now, but
pun intended.
yeah. But you know what, Tori, you can't keep good people down for long. So we're just gonna keep rolling and we're gonna get through this. Tori, speaking of get through this, America had quite the weekend.
Sure did.
Yeah, you just go to a minor league baseball, not minor league, but spring training baseball game, hanging out there in the sun with my best girl, watching a little baseball, and you look at your phone and you're like, oh, we went to war 2 hours ago.
We sure did.
Yeah, so I think that counts as a main story. So let's go ahead and do that. I am moving slow today. Tori, we are at war, and not the war that's going on in your gut. That's a war that we know what's going on, and we have a clear, decisive plan. The war with Iran is much, much different. Trump predicts that there will be even more casualties as operations in Iran continue. And I think I have a video here, so let me put it up.
The news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation.
All right, we got to change that background. And also, am I the only person that hates himself enough? Did you watch that entire speech that he gave? It was a very low T Trump. He was very sleepy. And it was so weird. He had, because of that, as of the time we started this, we've lost 4 service people, 4 military members so far. I don't know if you saw the footage of, death tolls up to 6. Kuwait base was hit. 3 U.S. planes have been shot down, Tori. Here's a little clip of that. And I'm not saying I foresaw this, but, you know, and we can talk over this. I think that the United States has gotten kind of a false sense of what goes on when we confront other countries. Iran is not Iraq, buddy. Iran is 91 million strong. Iraq is still never recovered from their war with Iran, which we'll probably get into because that's the kind of stuff I listen to all day. You know, and then Saddam, and then the fall of Saddam, and then just the way that we left Iraq in shambles, no electrical grid. When we rolled in there, they were putting their guns down and like, please, that ain't it, Jack. This ain't Venezuela, dog. This ain't Grenada either. And I remember, do you remember, Tori, that interview Ted Cruz gave with
Tucker Carlson?
Tucker Carlson?
Yeah.
And that was what, 3 months ago? And Tucker Carlson goes, how many people live in Iran? And Ted Cruz like, I don't know, 6 million? That's how much thought these people have given to this war. And Tori, I want to know your feelings, because not only do I not think this is going to be easy, I think this might be our Korea, where we just kind of back out and then call it the forgotten war and act like we didn't get our rear end kicked. What do you think?
So first off, let's just be honest. Someone named in the chat was so right. Who was it? Kathy loves to travel. She just wrote Jeffrey, who? And I have to be honest, I think this is a massive distraction from coming closer and closer. So I just want to put that out there, that I think that's what this is. I have always told you guys from the beginning that Trump doesn't love war. He's not a war hawk. He doesn't love guns. He doesn't love violence. And because of the need for distraction, and he actually ran on, I'm going to stop the wars. Do you remember that? I'm going to stop Ukraine. I'm going to stop Gaza. I'm going to stop that. And instead, he's starting one without the backup of Congress. And if you guys know, I always do the props and things, but he technically only has 90 days to start some kind of engagement without getting Congress to say yes to the war. It's called the War Authorization Act. And he's getting mightily close to unilaterally starting wars without the other branch that the Constitution requires him to include. And so am I happy that Ayatollah Khamenei, that horrific regime leader, is dead? Yes. So is a lot of Iranians. So were a lot of Iranians. They were dancing in the street. It was a horrific regime. But just like what you said, Al, is he kind of got into this to, move Jeffrey Epstein aside, and you forget that now 6 people are dead. You know what I mean? And that is only going to grow and grow. And he doesn't have the wherewithal to think ahead of what this means in terms of nuclear options, in which Iran has. Wait,
I don't think they have nukes, do they?
I believe they have a nuclear program. And
they might have a program, but I don't think they're anywhere close to being operational. Remember, there was the nuclear arms agreement that we had in place with them during the Obama administration. Trump ripped that up because anything that touched Obama had to go, and then kind of used that as a way to say, well, they're developing nuclear weapons, and then we bombed them when we were negotiating with them around this time last year. As we were negotiating with them, it was very strange. And I heard something and I thought it made so much sense. The way that Iran has been treated because they don't have a nuclear weapon is going to make other countries really want to have a nuke, because people don't bully North Korea like this. People don't go after Pakistan and India like this, because there's an unsaid agreement of, what do they call that? Mutual assured destruction.
Mm-hmm.
And if everybody on your block has a baseball bat and all you have is your fists, who's probably going to get bullied the most on that block? Iran has been attacked by Israel. They've been attacked by the United States, and twice. And you are vulnerable if you don't have a nuke. People do not like Kim Jong-il, but they don't go after them because they know, hey, they're strapped. And so this is weirdly going to trigger other countries to say, we have to protect ourselves so we don't become the next Iran. And Tori, this is what I want to get your thoughts on. Not only have we lost 6 service members, Tori, the MAGA base, something that seemed immovable, is really pissed off about this.
Yeah. Well, he just got even lower in the polls as well, which is crazy. But I didn't mean like they have nuclear weapons, but they have shields, they have missiles, they're trying to join in the group of people that have the nuclear power. And he's going after that in a way that starts a proliferation of, well, if this person attacks, then I have to attack, then I go. And so it started a chain reaction in which not only is MAGA unhappy, Congress is unhappy, and midterms are coming up, and all of that doesn't look good for someone who literally ran on stopping wars. I mean, he was obsessed with getting the Nobel Peace Prize. I stopped 8 wars. I did this, I did that. And to proliferate this attack with unilaterally, again, just as the president, seems rash, seems forward, and seems like a huge distraction. I know it says we're not at war. Billy says we're not at war, at least not technically. That's because you actually need Congress to authorize it as well. But yeah, I feel bad for servicemen and women. I feel bad for civilians in Iran that are going to be definitely hit. And I don't think he knows what he's doing is the other thing. I think he's playing war like the board game Battleship. And I'm not sure he has Pete Hegseth as the department head of war, is like the brainiest man to be in charge of this skill level. So it seems haphazard.
Don't forget, Pete Hegseth was sending classified military information over Signal 8 months ago to his wife and his lawyer.
Yeah.
And a reporter, remember a reporter was on that?
Yeah. So I'm not sure it's the best of the brains going after. This isn't like a Ulysses S. Grant Lincoln kind of working, think of strategy, this is two guys who want their names out of the news for Epstein files, and they're going to bomb and lose lives because of it. And that's what this is. And they're literally sacrificing American soldiers because of it. So it's again, I'm happy the Ayatollah is gone. I think that's a blessing for Iran, but I'm worried about what's coming up for that country.
Yeah, I'm worried that they haven't thought about what's coming up. Did you hear Lindsey Graham say that he doesn't adhere to the "you break it, you own it" situation? In terms of like, he gave an interview, and I believe nearly a direct quote, even though I'm going to paraphrase. It's not our job. Oh, I was trying. Every time I try and like get rid of somebody, maybe I agree with that guy. Yeah, it's just like, you know, he basically was like, it's not my job, and it's not the president's job to figure out who the next person in charge is going to be in Iran. And well, if we're calling it jobs, then who gave you the job to kill their leader?
Right.
No matter how you feel about it.
And leave a huge vacuum of power. I mean, that's a dangerous thing to be
in a state that was already in unrest. Yeah,
completely. Like now you're inviting coups and you're inviting military breakdowns, and that's what he does. What I call him is Bam Bam. He goes in and breaks up a bunch of things, Trump, and then walks away so that everyone is left like picking up the debris as if that's fine, and that's what this is starting. So I'm just nervous for our soldiers. It makes me think of Afghanistan, and there's no thinking ahead. This is all just flashy over here, so we don't look at the Epstein files, which we will continue to do so.
Absolutely. And Tori, I mean, it's not 16 countries have been involved in skirmishes or just all-out war. And, I saw that Dubai, some of their tourist spots got hit.
Huge hotels and malls, like got just burned up.
Right. And it's going to, that is kind of like the global center for wealth. You can shoot and bomb and kill. Obviously, the United States it's been confirmed that we shot a missile at a girls' school, and there have been 80 kids that have been confirmed dead. And unfortunately, in the world we live in, that's not enough to really generate a global push to change or end things. But when you start messing with the money, when you start messing with Dubai, when you start messing with where the world keeps their currency, there will be, I think, swifter action. And I think that, quite frankly, I think that the Trump regime was taken aback by the response. I think that they thought they had another Venezuela on their hands. Yeah,
they could just slip this through.
Yeah, and you're not gonna do that with Iran, especially when you take out a controversial leader, a disliked leader by a lot of people, but also a beloved leader by some of those people, by some of the hardliners. So
and let me just add, Al, with what you're just saying, the cherry on the top, and Michael Dean said this too, Europe is not involved. So it was Israel and the United States doing this. And Europe and our allies were like, who, what, how, what? And when you start wars like this without conjunction with our military allies, you're on your own, buddy. Like they stood up for us in Afghanistan, and then we even made fun of like how they didn't come and help us out. They lost soldiers, like British soldiers, and Trump was like, Britain didn't really send very many people, and it's insulting to all those people that lost their lives. But to not include them at all is an incredibly dangerous military position to put yourself in.
Yeah, and I mean, don't forget, like we used to be able to count on troops from Canada, and now Canada is going through military procedures in case of an unlikely but possible invasion from the United States. We have totally isolated ourselves, and you kind of can't have it both ways. And I think we see that happening in the White House. We see the isolationists that are like, F our EU partners, F our trade partners. We want to be just this kind of cold, dormant, solitary nation. but other people are pushing the United States hegemony, where it's just like, no, we want to be a global force. We want to have bases. I did USO tours. What do you think I was doing? The bases for the local troops. I was doing U.S. bases in Ramstein, Germany, in Rota, Spain. The U.S. has places everywhere, and to piss those allies off, but also put them in grave danger.
Exactly,
because they're right there.
They're right there. I agree. Joe Crowley writes, "We're flying alone. He blew everyone off." Perfectly succinct way of saying that. Perfectly, you encapsulated it all.
This is very. And now I wanted to ask you this, and not to be too morbid, but it's very weird. I was watching 7/7, which is a documentary on Netflix about basically London's 9/11, when there were the bombings in the subways and on those double-decker buses. And, you know, I have to ask you, Tori, after we just saw a picture of Kash Patel getting S-faced with the hockey team, which, hey, turn it up, bro. It's not like there's anything going on over here. Tori, do you feel less safe knowing that, because there will be retaliation, especially with these jokers? We have a weekend host from Fox, the head of the Department of War. We have a podcaster who is cross-eyed as our FBI director. It has been shown. It was shown last week. He's lucky it was such a crazy business week that they were a day late responding to what shooting was it? Was it the one at Brown? Because he had an FBI jet and he had another one on reserve, and so they were a day late getting there. Is this the kind of person that you want to, like, that makes you feel comfortable? Because we are all pretty sure that there are terrorist cells here. We have a number of enemies all over the country, and they have to know that we're weak if they just look at YouTube.
I just, you know how he was like, drain the swamp and all that. We don't have our, let's just say this, we don't have our best people on this. We just don't have our best people on this. And it will lead to, and this will teach us how important someone with a military strategic mind who knows the Middle East with foreign policy history could take this in a much different direction, instead of this exploding and growing and spreading and becoming a World War III. You know, Ted Cruz didn't know what the makeup was, Sunni, Shia. You need to know what religious aspects of the people are in Iran. You have to know who's the hierarchy of Iran. You have to know who's coming in after the Ayatollah. And if you are just blank and want to bomb to distract from the Epstein files, you're going to create an out of control war when it nenever had to be that way. So I'll just say we don't have our best people on this, is what I would say.
Yeah, well, just to solidify your point, Pete Hegseth said, "We didn't start this war, but we are finishing it." Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said at a news conference Monday, "We didn't start this war under President Trump, but we are going to finish it." He then goes on to say that drones create a conventional shield for their nuclear blackmail ambitions, and will protect basically our allies and anybody in their crosshairs. He said that Iran tried to lie their way to a nuclear bomb. And, you know,
but who started the war?
Yeah. And so, like, Tori, we keep doing different stories, but we're running into the same issues. The things that they are saying are things that we can all blatantly see.
I know, it's like, it's with your eyes. Don't trust your eyes. That's what George
Orwell. It's Minnesota all over again. It's Alex Peretti is a mass murderer.
Yeah.
And I just don't think there's ever been a time that Americans have felt less confident in their safety and their leadership.
No, I mean, look at the polls. We're down. He's down. I think approval rating now is at 27 and dropping. It's the lowest ever in presidential record history. And he's no longer allowing Gallup to even poll because it's so low. They're desperate for a midterm turnaround, and it's already over. I mean, it's basically over. I saw Mike Johnson over the weekend saying, if we lose the midterms, then Trump loses the presidency. And that's where they're at. They're at a cutting edge, razor thin line of keeping any kind of control. And this is what they do. Flashy things, bombs, do that, distract, and hopefully you get the right wing, like MAGA people into it and the neocon pro-Israel people into it, and it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough.
Right. Well, the right wing MAGA people aren't into it because it's their sons and daughters that are going over to these places and coming back in caskets. And that was the two things that they really ran on.
Yeah.
Have shown their head in the last 4 weeks in a way that nobody could have anticipated. And now they have a situation where they have pissed off their base. They pissed off the lower level of their base with the Epstein files. They pissed off everybody with the murders of American citizens in the streets of Minneapolis. That seems like a distant memory.
How about the racist tweets of the Obamas as apes? Like, that was a nail in the coffin for a lot of people on this presidency and the midterms. Just that he's taken them out of the race. And it's true.
Well, to that point, Tori, last week, again, it was such a crazy news week that not only a former president, but like the most recent former president, Joe Biden, came out and he was like, Trump is definitely going to try and go after the midterms. And that has always been kind of poo-pooed, like, you're being a little alarmist here. Like, a president's never tried that. Tori, what do you think the validity is of something like that? And why do you think, like, an ex-president saying, hey, the dude in there now is shady AF, everybody's like, we'll see?
No, I think he's totally on board. First off, those presidents, like our past presidents, know things we don't know. And second off, you're starting to hear senators, and I don't remember the name, it was Tom Massey, but one senator just said, let's call it as it is. Trump will be trying to mess with the midterm elections. And finally, like, we're saying the quiet part out loud. You know what I mean? We're not just saying ICE might be around the polls, or no mail-in, or it might be rigged, so we have to take control and federalize the voting. Those are all like little ways to get in there, but the Congress is finally saying, no, he's trying to interfere with the elections. That's like straight up plain. And that's what Biden is saying. Again, a war is something that people do and sometimes have to stop elections if it gets too dicey. So this is another way for him, another spoke in the wheel of maybe we can't have the midterms. So just know that his goal is to somehow either stop the midterms or make them so sketchy that we don't believe the results of the midterms, which is how he said 2020 was rigged over and over and over again. That's going to come into play in an enormous way. And it's going to take the backbone of Congress, which we haven't really seen, to stand up and be like, this is illegal. And it's going to take local law enforcement, Al, in different polling places to fight back, which causes this weird federal versus local situation to happen. So the main goal is to distract, and it's also to deal with the voting situation. It's all bad. There's nothing good.
It's all bad. And it's like, you know, I'm not the person that's always looking for a silver lining, and I don't even think this would count as one.
Right.
But do you think maybe the long-term silver lining is that Americans, for as much as it would be like, I think a lot of Americans feel weird about our history, about our past. We know that every country kind of glazes and elevates their position as a force of good in the world. But there's a part of America's history that just doesn't make sense to a lot of people when you talk about, you know, whether it was like why is Cuba still embargoed? What happened? Remember Trump initially with the Ukraine when he was going to withhold weapons in his first term, and he was kind of holding that over Zelensky's head unless he did an investigation on Biden. And here they are kind of half-heartedly helping them just enough in this second go around with Trump. We clearly look like if nothing else, we stood by and allowed a genocide in the eyes of a lot of the world to happen in Gaza. And now we are attacking a country for the second time after we have already destabilized Venezuela by just taking their leader without consulting the world. And I think a lot of Americans we want to feel, everybody wants to feel good about their country, but I think we all, and on top of this, the Epstein files, in which half of the sitting cabinet is asking Jeffrey what time is dinner. And I wonder if it is going to be a national reckoning that happens one person at a time. That's just like, what's really going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Because this does not seem right. A lot of things that we're learning do not seem to be true.
No, I don't think he has what I would like to call clean motives. That's not where Trump comes from. He abuses all to help him save himself in ways. So we start a war to help save one man, and already 6 of our soldiers have been killed. And that's what he does.
Yeah. But it's just like totally counterintuitive to not only what we've been taught, but I think like most genuine Americans, like the picture of the 4 soldiers kind of erecting that flag on the battlefield.
Iwo Jima.
There's actually a pretty good movie about that called Flags of Our Fathers, and it goes through their individual stories. I am 500 years old. But, I think that's why Saving Private Ryan is so still popular to this day. World War II and Band of Brothers. We want to be seen as the heroes, but it's like everywhere we look, we're like, oh my God.
Well, now we're the people we fought. So we fought fascism, right? We fought that. And now that's our administration in many, many ways, is taking on the role of the fascists. So we're like, we know we're on the wrong side. Like we're the bad guys. Like,
yeah, I mean, really. And you know what really hit me this weekend when all these things were going down is I was like, man, it'd be a great time for DBL to be on the air to discuss all this.
Totally.
And then I thought about, speaking of America, free speech, land of the free, home of the brave, all that stuff. Stephen Colbert ain't on the air no more. DBL ain't on the air no more. He's
still on the air till May, but yeah, right.
Yeah, but
right.
Pretty much CBS is completely bought and paid for. As of Friday, the merger went through. And now Paramount now owns like CNN.
Yeah.
They own South Park. Obviously, Paramount is a great ally of President Trump, and they will do his bidding. Yeah, Netflix dropped out of the acquisition. And so now Paramount has a clear shot. So they will own CNN. The Washington Post is like, I wouldn't swat a fly with that now. They did Watergate, right? And now the Washington Post is gone. Twitter is gone. TikTok is gone. I watched a video where somebody showed that you couldn't even type Epstein in a DM to somebody. It would not send it. That's how much their algorithms are. And now, because they saw how poorly they looked in Minneapolis with the clips about the treatment, Gaza with the destruction over there, they were like, let's not change behavior. Let's just make people's access to it impossible.
That's just censorship. I mean, that's what fascists do when they want you to see what they want you to see. Don't trust your eyes. Don't trust your ears. Don't trust the news. Don't trust the comics. Don't trust the doctors. Don't trust the medical community. I mean, they're having a surgeon general who doesn't have a license. I mean, that is
insane to me.
That is the playbook, right? It's like, just trust us and our propaganda state TV. That's all you guys need to do. And we're all like, I don't think that's like A, American, and B, like, I don't feel comfortable with that. So it's a Russian, Chinese way of looking at how to handle your citizenry. And it's just if you're a patriot, you'd be against this. And if you had any memory of education, we fought this in World War II already. So it's like, we're back here, and now we're the ones in charge, are the fascists.
Tori, where do you go to get your news?
Good
I
call.
feel like I'm setting up an ad read, but unfortunately we're not. So get on it, guys.
So I read the New York Times every day. Always have your New York Times. Always, always, always. And then I go to Instagram, and sometimes we'll double check on what I'm seeing. And then I go to HuffPo a lot just to see what Huffington Post has, but it is difficult for me to trust. And sometimes I'll go to CNN, but I no longer go at all. Michael Dean's making fun that it was out of the bag, but I was reading the Sunday one. Okay, Michael Dean.
Right.
I was doing both. NPR is very good, but there's little
NPR is
section.
going away, right? They lost their funding, right?
Correct. Yeah. So, but
as did PBS.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
Tori, what is happening?
Censorship.
Like, pause and just think about what we just said.
Yeah, but that's the playbook. It's not like this is crazy to think of. It's you just follow back from Machiavelli, Hitler. I'm not saying that you could compare the two, but follow these leaders, Mussolini. This is all they did. They took away choice. They took away the voices, and they only gave you what they wanted you to hear. And that's all the country gets. Like Putin wins the election by like 99%. Yeah,
He's
right.
really good.
Like, yeah, he's that good. So it's
good campaign manager.
It's un-American. And anyone saying to me, I'm unpatriotic, or you move to Canada, like, you should be fighting for this. If you love the Constitution and America, we already fought fascism and won. Like, that happened already. So to be like, okay with that now as our power, you're not educated in the history of this country and what it represents as a democracy. More choice, more voting, more voices, trusting, believing the news, free press, freedom of speech. So who's un-American here? You or me?
Right. I mean, well said, sister. I mean, it's
Thanks.
so interesting.
I thought so too.
Yeah, that was really good. I got to give my girl some flowers on that one. And it's just, what you said right at the end, you were like, more choice. And it's like, pretty much on one hand, Zuckerberg, Elon Musk,
Bezos,
Larry Ellison, who's got TikTok, CNN, HBO, Comedy Central, who does what? Pokes fun at Trump with South Park. That's going to go away, buddy. And Larry Ellison also owns CBS. So that's 5 white dudes that control, would you say, 89% of the television and online presence?
Absolutely.
What am I supposed to go to AOL?
I mean, the cap, just so you guys know, the cap for one company owning a media company is that they'd be in 39% of households in this country. That's the cap. If Nexstar buys Tegna, which they're planning on doing in the next couple months, they will be in 80% of the households. So the cap is at 39. You can't go above that because that means that's a monopoly. 80% is an overwhelming monopoly. That 80% of households in America are getting their news from one company. All the ABCs, all the CBSs, they're owned by one conservative company. That's terrifying.
Yeah. I mean, we live at a time on the planet right now where Anderson Cooper had to leave 60 Minutes and CNN, and Don Lemon is in jail or was in jail.
Yeah, I mean, and Jimmy Kimmel was yanked off the air for a bad joke. I mean, this is what happens. This is what happens to countries that want to only feed you what they want to feed you. And that's the most unpatriotic American thing you can think of.
And you just unlocked, just when you said Jimmy Kimmel, I thought about the joke that he made. And we were in the Uber going to a spring train. No. We were with my nephew going to a really cool coffee shop, Misar and his lovely wife. And out of nowhere, my nephew's like, they're going to rename this Charlie Kirk Highway. It's I-10, Tori. That's the highway that led to my old crib in LA. That ain't no like side, hey, Route 66, have some rhubarb pie and kick it. That's a major thoroughfare for a YouTuber.
Not only that, Al, the flags went down to half-mast for Charlie Kirk, and he laid in the state capitol. They refused to even lower the flags for the Reverend Jesse Jackson, who was an enormous civil rights and politician in this country.
They didn't let him lie in state.
Exactly. So that is terrifying. Charlie Kirk Highway.
Wow. Isn't that, and it's, Tori, it is a major highway.
Wow.
You can argue it's the 405 of Arizona, of Scottsdale, Phoenix. Yeah, I mean, it was just like
no kings. Remember, we don't have kings in this country. Just Tom wrote, conclusion, kiss the ring. I completely agree with you. It's like, that's why we have something called a No Kings March, because we literally left England to get away from the monarchy. It's just, I
Yeah,
just don't. I
and it
don't get
just
it.
seems like it's just been accelerated. Like everything from throwing his name on everything to taking down historical documents about enslaved folks. You know, I remember this is a while back, and I'm not going to say who the person was, but it's somebody we both know very well. And they were at a women in this business conference, and the woman the person asked the person like, "Oh, where do you go next?" And she goes, "Oh, I just had a bunch of my dates scheduled canceled because also the other part of what's going on with this kings no king situation is a lot of people, whether they be women or minorities, have been let go from their positions. So it just seems like it's a complete and total reset of where you can get to in the society depending on what you look like. And it's a sad day, and I think my head is still spinning from how quickly it happened. Like we were on the air 2 years ago, and now it's just like we I realized this weekend when I was trying to learn more about the war. The first website I went to, Tori,
What?
The Guardian.
Huh? You go to
Yeah.
BBC. You go to other countries.
It didn't even cross my mind because I don't even think that CNN is giving out misinformation, but what CNN tends to do and what CBS just outright does is they just like something crazy will be going on. And I remember CBS 60 Minutes was running a best of celebrity interviews montage, and it's like the world is on fire. And I just think that's part of the state media is just like, hey, we'll distract you over here. You want to see how this British pop band got started? We're gonna watch that rather than watch the DHS leader call an ICU nurse a domestic terrorist. All right, Tori, let's move on. I'm like trying to find
I'm
something.
sorry. My body is very different color from the sunlight. Like,
Well, you're in front of a gigantic shade.
I wanted to get good lighting, but this has turned into some kind of.
Well, and you could hire like a lighting expert to come to your crib, but is there any part of your brain that says, I want to get good lighting, I should sit directly in front of the sun?
The
Because
sun
that's
makes
what
my
you're doing.
skin look glowy. Like, look how
No, it makes it look like you're coming out of the woods to a cop's headlights, and you're like, turn your lights off. I'm fine back here. And he's like, who's that? And you're like, we fell. We fell back
lost.
there.
We got lost.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Tori, I wanted to get to this story. I want to try. Okay. Let's do this. First
of all, Smarty Jones has been very complimentary about me all day, and I've been having like a day in which I don't feel good. So I really appreciate that as an ego boost. Lady, you
okay,
good?
But
No,
Smarty Jones, let me say this. Can you say one nice thing and then say, all right, boo, now get your lighting together?
What if I shut the shade?
Absolutely, you should do that. You should do that.
Oh, wait, that's.
Yeah, have at it.
Okay, hold on.
How long is it going to take you? I feel like Tori's going to mess this up. This is the kind of programming that you guys get. By the way, colleagues, see how Tori's seat is empty? I've been seeing on Instagram now, there are people that just like, have you seen people that just leave a fixed shot up on Instagram all day, like Instagram Live or YouTube Live? And it's just like, it'll just be a kitchen. And then like sometimes I'll scroll and it'll just be like a woman cooking. And then now granted, she had a big booty.
People are very lonely.
No, I mean, no, I think it's like a thing like all day streaming. And one time I scrolled past one and there was a girl that was just sleeping, like face the camera.
Yeah, that's what like Kai does, like on Twitch and stuff. It's just all day. They never, ever, ever stop. And Netflix has bought up a lot of podcasts because they see that the news isn't doing well. Like a 1 hour news program isn't, but like a 30-hour podcast is. So it's like, it's very interesting the way people are consuming, and they're sitting with people just so that they're not alone during the day, so that they have, even if they're sleeping, there's someone in the room with them. You know what I mean?
Would you ever do that?
Yeah.
You would have some grade A stalkers, like mwah, like just a stalker that like you would draw up on like NCIS.
like pictures of where I am right now.
Yeah, I mean it's a little scary, but I mean it seems like access is the way to go, and I just wonder, like, is that going to be what we're going to do next? Is just like leave just our empty shots and come back?
Yeah, I think that you will start to live online. That's the way you are now. Now that's, you don't wake up and that's how you have friendship, companionship. That's how you, there's no time in the day in which you aren't seeing someone online.
How long until you do a little oopsie in front of the camera getting out of the shower? Like, oh, I'm sorry, guys. Michael Dean will be like, did you see Tori had a spike in followers? I was so weird. See you next Friday, guys. Tee-hee-hee. All right, Tori. I want to ask you this. The question is, can you have a gun if you smoke a lot of pot? The Supreme Court to decide. First of all, I don't want those crusty humans deciding what a lot of pot is, because I think if they just smelled some at a tailgate of a football game, too much. What is this? The
reefer.
Hell in a handbasket.
This is a
All
reefer.
right, Tori, let me read this and then I want to get your thoughts. The Trump administration, which has ardently backed gun rights, will nonetheless try to convince the Supreme Court on March 2nd that frequent pot smokers can be imprisoned for having a gun. The Justice Department will make the argument that even as the administration is moving to reclassify marijuana to a less dangerous category of drugs, as cannabis is legal in some form in the majority of states, this is just one of the noteworthy aspects about the case. The second involves the constitutional right to bear arms that the justices will be deciding on this year. So, Tori, what do you think about this? Because you can get shit-faced and have a gun. You could drink a bottle of Bacardi 151 and be like, where's my rifle?
I'll be honest with you. What was my first thought? Was like, what about alcohol? Like, that's, if you're stoned and have a gun, you're probably watching, like, I was going to say Ren and Stimpy, but that makes me feel really, really old. But like, there's very few people who are more peaceful than stoners. Like, they just want to eat, chill, relax. I absolutely think alcohol is more dangerous. And I don't understand this, because I know that Trump has always actually ran on decriminalizing marijuana because he thinks personally that it should be. So very unclear as to why this is happening, and also why you go against the NRA and the Second Amendment people, who are like the last people to hold you up. Like,
after you already pissed them off at the tail end of Minneapolis.
Exactly.
Where they were
So
like,
I don't
Alex
get this.
shouldn't have had a gun, and Second Amendment people were like, what's that now?
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't understand this. I don't get it. I assume the justices will come back that there's no scrutiny level for guns in the Constitution or Second Amendment. So why that? So I don't understand this at all, this route. But I will say this: the SCOTUS, for the first time, see Smarty Jones get high and watches Leave It to Beaver. I love that show. Yeah, not an angry person. You know what I mean? The SCOTUS, or Supreme Court, has cracked with Trump in a big way when they did not give him full presidential power in their latest take on tariffs. And that's been the biggest break between POTUS and SCOTUS. And he's angry at the Supreme Court because Amy Coney Barrett, Gorsuch, and Roberts all went against him. And that is sort of somewhat unheard of. So
on the tariffs.
So expect to see more breaks between SCOTUS and POTUS. And he didn't even want them, he said, at the State of the Union. You don't normally see the executive branch trashing the judicial branch. They are what we call in an ivory tower. They are put up as some of the best, smartest individuals of our time. And you just don't see a president slamming them like it's WWE. Like, that's just not normal that they went against.
I couldn't believe he did that. Yeah. And Tori, speaking of couldn't believe, I wonder if you saw this. All right, Tori, we're talking Kelly Osbourne.
Oh my gosh.
Did you see the pictures? I'm assuming we have Michael Dean. Do we have a picture of her?
It is so scary, y'all. It is. I feel.
Okay. Yeah. Sarah said that when somebody showed her that, she was like, "What am I?" She honestly was like, why would you show me that? Like, she thought it was like some kind of weird picture. And I'm not trying to be hurtful or talk about anybody's body, but as somebody that was pre-med and did pre-med summer programs and I've worked with cadavers, they looked very similar to that. And that's no shade.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
no shade.
I totally agree with you.
Same complexion and everything.
Yeah, look, this is unhealthy objectively to absolutely anyone. She's sort of clapping back. She says there's grief with her father, who, by the way, when I lost my mother, I couldn't eat very much. I understand. There also could be a GLP situation where it's just gone too far and you don't get your appetite actually back. And then you're stuck and you're almost on a feeding tube situation because you don't have the normal hunger cycles in which the circadian rhythm of like, now it's time to eat. Now you lost it, you lose it. So she is seriously ill.
But that seemed very extreme. Tori, let me read what she says. It says Kelly Osbourne slams trolls for kicking her while she's down.
Yeah.
She says while she's going through the hardest time of her life, there's a special kind of cruelty in harming someone who is clearly going through someone. She posted on an Instagram story. And I'm going to have a little pushback to that. I'm not here to attack the grieving.
I agree with you.
But and I'm not saying everybody online is somebody that's necessarily trying to aid her well-being. I'm sure some people are taking shots. That's part of being a celebrity. But I do think there's a part of human beings, because it goes both ways. I've seen you. I've been like, Tori, your arms are ripped. What you been doing, girl?
What do you mean?
You look great. That's not me commenting on your body. It's like, hey, you look. And if I saw you and you didn't have the same light in your face, I'd be like, are you okay? You'd be like, oh, I just had the stomach flu for 4 days. I haven't been it. Not like that explains it. But commenting on somebody's appearance because we are animals and we are able to tell when something doesn't look healthy. I get that it was probably a flood of it because she has a ton of followers. But I don't know if like, that's not an okay thing to say, but I don't know if that's a fair thing to say if somebody that you know has always had your back comments on that.
Not only do I agree with you wholeheartedly, most of the people I've seen, Al, aren't like, what the hell? You're so skinny. You look so ugly. They're like, we're genuinely concerned. Like, it's not like a clap back at her or trying to put her down. It's like, we're raising a flag here. Someone needs to get some help, because you can go all the way in which you can die. I mean, you can really lose muscle. You can lose, your organs can start to fail. And I think the majority of us are just actually legit concerned because we care. And it's so objectively unhealthy that everybody in the thing was like, oh my God, oh my God. Now, again, going through grief, there might be reasons, but I think we have legit reasons, if you're in the public eye, to comment on you and say something looks terribly wrong. I mean, I think that's concerning. And I think people's motives were mostly concern and not making fun. And I'm not sure, the clapback to me was unnecessary because she obviously is concerning. I mean, there's something wrong there. So I hope her family gets her into some kind of treatment because she so desperately needs it. But again, it could be Ozempic misuse and the lack of the hunger coming back online, but you need to be in treatment for this. I mean, this is dangerous levels.
And again, no shade here, but Michael Dean, can you pop that picture up one more again? Because like her mom doesn't look that great either, Tori. It looks like this is maybe like a family situation. I think family can have issues together.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're obviously very close, which is a beautiful thing. And they have an incredible fan base. But it's interesting that your fan base is only allowed to show you love. But when they try and step up for you, it's like, stop hating. And it's like,
agreed.
That's kind of not what's going on.
Agreed.
Now, I want to get to this person, Tori, because they do not have as much of a fan base, but they have been wilding out in Nolans. That would be New Orleans with Santa. And that would be Shia LaBeouf.
I just heard like a couple hours ago, and again, This is alleged, but people are very concerned about. He's saying it's an ego problem, not a drinking problem. He lashed out. He started.
That's like a T-shirt you would buy in the French Quarter.
C'est non problème de ego, c'est le problème des drunk. Ubrique. But I do have to say, what I'm hearing more and more is friends and people in his circle are saying he's dangerously close to having problems due to his drinking issues right now. Dangerously close to hospitalization and death. Again, this is all alleged, coming from people and sources and all of that. But Shai is not in a good place, and I don't think it's just an ego problem. I think this is an addiction problem and a rehab problem. We've seen him go through multiple problems like this, but the word is that he's and I agree with Tom right here. He needs to get out of this quagmire. He has too much talent. I think Shia LaBeouf is like a phenomenal actor, and I always have. And it's so sad to see that another child actor, you know what I mean? It's so, you could just write it. It's like, we all know it's just so bad, because addiction is, as Michael Dean is saying, is real. And when you're in it, your thinking is messed up. I'm dealing with sort of mental addiction and some behavioral addiction that I'm trying to get out of, and obsessive compulsive. And it is
every woman that's ever dated me has that. You should talk to them. You can't blame them.
That's not true.
I'm sorry, I'm like a child.
Okay. No, but it does feel like a mountain you could never, ever reach the top of. So I give my sympathy and empathy, but two people right now that desperately need to be in rehab, in my opinion.
Absolutely, Tori. And just to put a bow on this conversation, you know, the last 3 times I've seen Shia LaBeouf on TMZ, one, he was just getting his ass handed to him by some dude in the French Quarter that he apparently headbutted. The next day he went to jail. Then a random black woman bailed him out. They both posted a picture of the club flashing peace signs. And then the next article was him going back to jail. And the article underneath that was Amanda Bynes. I don't know if you saw the picture. I don't think Michael Dean has this picture of her. We're not scheduled to talk about it. But Amanda Bynes looked, it's going to sound like I'm trying to be funny. She looked like, you know, when you go to like the local fair where you blow the water into like a clown's head and a balloon, like her makeup looked that distorted. And I looked at her and I was just like, it's interesting to look at these former child stars. She was a star.
And she was very talented too.
Extremely talented.
I mean, like I thought Lindsay Lohan, like all those kids were really talented. And then you see them go through such horrific.
But I mean, now we have the Epstein side of it.
Yeah,
where now,
right.
like, we know, like, why all these extremely talented kids just like, what happened?
Crashed. They all crashed and burned. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Michael Dean, for grabbing. Oh, man. I mean, but, you know, and TMZ did something real crappy. They were like, in order to post that picture of her to point and laugh, they were like, oh, she said she's close to her Ozempic body weight. They just wanted to put that picture up.
Yeah.
But I wonder if the response is different now, because we all know how predatory any child was during that time. And now we still see it in real time when all these former Nickelodeon stars go to their OnlyFans and they open it, and the day of, there's a million dirt bags with $20 out. Like, I want to see you naked. This is a bigger, more pervasive problem. And I think at least now that we have some knowledge about it, we won't be so quick to be like, oh, money just ruined them. Maybe it wasn't money. Maybe it wasn't money.
I agree with you, but it's interesting that we're like, now maybe we'll take accountability. And yet, like, even our Justice Department can't take accountability. Like, no movement, none. And so, like, we've been saying this about these kids for years. And like, think about how they're waiting for someone to get someone to hold these people accountable. There's just nothing. There's nobody there. There's just an emptiness of, like, you see other countries doing it, Britain, Norway, France, you know, other places are kicking people out and arresting people.
Places with humans.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, wow, we really are the bad guys. We've become those.
And Tori, they haven't even released the bad stuff, sis.
I know. I mean, like, and they haven't even questioned like Les Wexner. Like, it's just it's appalling. It's appalling the way we've treated the Epstein files. It's appalling.
I don't know how we can. I've said, half jokingly, but I know Law and Order's been on for 31 years in a row. Take that shit off my TV. That is as much of a fantasy as Alien versus Predator or something.
Yeah.
Like that is a fallacy.
Yeah.
What we do have evidence of isn't two cops with six packs going out and getting to the bottom of a crime using warrants. What we do have is we have allegedly Proud Boys in the street shoving women to the ground and throwing women into concentration camps and shooting nurses. What we do have is allegedly Proud Boys going into people's homes without a warrant.
Yeah.
And no repercussions, shooting Americans, no trial. What we do have,
spraying children.
Yeah. What we do have is names, flight logs, emails, time video, all these things that some people would call evidence. But yet there's nothing. So take that shit off of my TV.
Yeah.
Not that I get any channels anymore. Take that off of my state TV. And I would rather see a realistic Law and Order where they get all the stuff and then they're just like, yeah, we can. And then they just run errands for the rest of the time.
Or they're like, you know what? This rape kit, I don't feel like running it. You want to catch some lunch? Like that's
I heard that Italian place just opened down the street. Just be honest about what you are and what you do. Yeah. There were girls that went to them 4 different times and they just said, deemed not credible. No questions were asked. No notes were taken, which is usually what you do when you question somebody. I know we'd all like to think we're going to hold in our head for 40 years, but we've developed a system of writing things down. And they, even back then, they were so like, it's all this big cyclone of shit.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is maybe almost like a natural disaster. Maybe you got to knock the house down because it appears almost like those old horror movies. The house is buried on something foul. And we cannot move forward. I don't want to hear anything from the Supreme Court, quite frankly. I don't want to hear anything from 98% of the Democrats. I don't want to hear shit. I don't want to hear anything from Republicans. I don't want to hear anything from ICE. I don't want to hear anything from these businesses that built and quickly assembled warehouses that you could put people in. That they were like, yeah, bring the 5-year-old. We got a lot of ICE people. We got a lot of, we got a lot of numbers we got to account for. Cut their training down. Let's be hilarious about it. Let's make it 47 days. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, because he's the 47th president.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, and to be super honest, recently we had someone testifying as a whistleblower saying that they directly instructed ICE members to violate the Constitution. Not that we needed anyone to say it, but someone on record came out and say it. I've always said this, we're in a terrible timeline. We're seeing what happens when the beginning of a dictatorship starts. And if you're not doing anything about that, then that's on you. And if you don't see anything wrong with that, then that's on you. But we're in a really horrific timeline where the trust between electors and the constituents is gone. I mean, there's just almost no trust left. And for good reason.
Do you think this is the first time, definitely in our lifetimes, our lifetimes, maybe we got some older colleagues, where we could possibly see a real deal mass strike? The No President's Day, No President's marches continue to break record numbers. There is a coordinated effort amongst citizens that all agree. Did you see the, I know we got to go, but did you see the New Jersey, soccer coach or varsity coach that went viral this morning?
Mm-mm.
He, the ICE is still carrying on operations in Jersey, and they interviewed this coach, and they were like, "Why are you out here protesting?" And he goes, "Normally this is not my thing." He was like, "I love America. I love Jersey. I love Bergen County. Is where I'm from." And then like he had to gather himself because like what he had just seen, you could tell, just destabilized everything he believed in. He goes, "I just saw 4 of my students run from the U.S. government."
Yeah, that's
And
exactly.
he was like, I couldn't. And it made me think of the other guy who I fell in love with in Minnesota, who was just cursing. And I feel like he was such a kick in the teeth to all the people. These are paid protesters, or they're woke. This guy was like my favorite kind of protester, because he was like, "Gee, I don't want to be here. He goes, I'm woke. I was on my couch. I don't want. It's cold as shit. But you guys are effing up."
Him.
I love that guy. He's
like
those,
yeah, he was like, "I've never done this." There's a sign that someone's like, "I'm an introvert, but I'm even out here," or like, "I'm not usually a sign guy, but geez," like
it's just
you've hit those types of people are getting up and activating. They say, "What would you have done in the civil rights movement?" Well, that's what you're doing right now, because we're in another movement like that. And if you're not stepping up and doing something for this country, then silence is complicit at some point. And so it's a bad timeline we're in, and it takes voting, and it takes people like us. It takes people like the people of Minneapolis who got ICE out of their city non-violently. Like, that is an incredible feat that they did that. And I do want to say, I remember Minneapolis had to close their schools due to ICE. And that's another way of saying U.S. kids had to be scared and in danger for their lives due to the U.S. government, and lack their education because of it. That is a horrific statement of fact. That is terrifying.
Yeah, and I'll submit, this will be the last thing I'll say on it. I don't know if we can move forward until the U.S. government comes out. Whatever, it won't be this regime, but the next one, they have to do some kind of a mea culpa tour, because
it'll take generations. It'll take.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
It'll take generations. It will not be fixed within this next generation, and the trust will not be back. It's going to take a long time.
Do you want to see like my little silent protest? And Sar made fun of me this weekend because she's like, "You need to get a wallet." Do you want to see my wallet looks like? It's an old Marriott.
Wow.
Do you know why? Because I'm refusing to participate in this country. I am so disgusted by what I've seen. I patronize small businesses, but I just like, it's not even the actual wallet. It's like, it reminds me to be as minimalist as possible.
It's cool.
Because I am so disgusted by what I've seen, and to be conscious with my dollar.
Yeah.
Because, everywhere you look, it's just like, we have just been betrayed for just trying to do it the right way. Trying to do it what we were told to do. Go to college, be a good person. You do that, college is predatory, and you be a good person, and the government shoots you in the back of the head 9 times and calls you a anarchist.
Yeah, or you're standing up against pedophilia, which I would think everybody would be against, and you get pepper sprayed, or you get shut down, or you're called an idiot or a moron. And it's like, wait, we can't agree on pedophilia is bad? Like, we're in the dark. We're in the upside down. We're in the upside down.
But maybe, it's I think like we got to go through this to come out clean on the other side. Like Andy Dufresne, he crawled through a river of shit and came out clean on the other side. Shout out Morgan Freeman, and shout out Andy. Even though he was stinking, he was out of Shawshank. And right now we're still doing that shimmy through the, and we're puking every couple of feet, but we're going to get out, and then we're going to do, I told you that I listened to a review that Shawshank Redemption was a Christian movie.
Yeah, but that end scene is verbatim what happens in Raising Arizona. Like, they crawl through a thing of shit, get out. It's raining. They look up. John Goodman looks up. They're so happy. Is it Raising Arizona?
Yeah,
one of those.
So.
It's like exactly scene by scene to that ending. I was like, damn, that sucks.
But just the idea of like some of the prisoners got comfortable in jail, and that was like, that symbolized like the children getting too comfortable in the womb, and him coming out was the birthing process and the trauma of that, and the fact that he went through a poster of a woman
through her through her womb.
Well,
almost.
yeah, that was what was leading into the world. It's just like I forgot everything, but it was like interesting at least, you know?
Yeah, that's a cool interest. Yeah, it's like a born again situation.
Yeah. All right. Well, also I found out we should do a segment called I Didn't Know What That Song Was About.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Because I found out this last weekend when I was in Miami, Hannibal and I were looking at random songs, and you know that Rihanna song, "We Fell in Love in a Hopeless Place." Did you know that song's about MDMA, Molly?
Oh no.
If you think about it, we felt, we found love where we weren't looking for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
like
interesting.
yeah.
Did you
So
know that I learned that the Lion King, oh yeah, you know the beginning?
I do now. My new ringtone.
Apparently, Godfrey was in his podcast, and the guy's like, "Do you want to know what that means?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "It just means, oh my God, look, there's a lion. Look, there's a lion." I was like, "Really?"
But I think maybe it's the simplicity that draws people to it.
It's Swahili.
But
I wanted it to be
like what people like.
But it's like, dude, lion. Whoa. Like,
yeah. And they're like, nailed it. They're like, do you want to? It's like my old producer, Merv, God rest his soul, from that Fox show I used to do, Awesome Adventures. Colleagues, no matter what could happen, if an eagle landed on my head and pecked me until blood came, Merv would be like, we got it. I'd be like, do we need to redo that? Rap, we're good. Going to next. Merv, that guy is arguing with his wife over my show. It's fine. We'll cut it.
We got it. We'll fix the code.
We got it. That's how we need to. We should make some t-shirts and honor my boy Merv. And just be like, a good way to live your life is not to dwell on things. Not try and reshoot it to get it perfect. Just we got it.
Yeah.
It's good.
Or just like, look, there's a lion.
Look, that's good too. I actually like that one too. All right, Tori, I like that idea, but I love you, girl. Colleagues, you know how I feel. Don't make me get all sappy on this. We appreciate y'all riding with us. We went a little bit long today, but there's lots to do. Michael Dean, appreciate you getting all that stuff. Brandon, thank you for telling the people to smash that like button and tell the people, because obviously we are in a state of mass surveillance, and they're going to come and get me and Tori like Minority Report. So tell a friend before it's too late. Do you think our numbers will go up if we became like political dissonance? I don't even know if that's the right word. Yeah, that would help. Yeah. I'm down.
No.
What do I need to yell into this microphone? I'm no Pete Hegseth that's listening.
Get out of here.
Yeah. All right, colleagues. We're out of here. Tori, I love you. Michael Dean, I love you too.